Ladies and gentlemen, our very own Super Eagles are preparing for their decisive CAF 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers playoff scheduled to take place in Morocco. And we are all waiting for Eric Sekuchel to release his final man squad. I'm going to talk about my predicted 25-man squad for the Super Eagles ahead of this mini tournament in Morocco, with 3 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 7 midfielders, and 7 forwards. Just be with me right from the start to the end of this presentation. Before that, if you are new on this platform, subscribe to the channel, hit on the post notification bell for more updates. Let's show love to our Super Eagles by liking the video and sharing to other social media platforms. As usual, my name is Romain Solomon Kwadwo Asante, your only nomenclature with the engineer's philosophy in sports, a Ghanaian who has declared his full support for Nigeria sports with a Nigerian name, the only one, Solomon Chukwu Emeka. Please do well to leave your decent comments in the comment box for special shoutouts in my subsequent videos. And no more, straightforward, let's get into the video and start from the CAF 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers playoffs scheduled to take place in Morocco from the 13th to the 16th of November 2025. I needed to reiterate so that the new subscribers and viewers will get to know the happenings around our very own Super Eagles. First semi-final game, the Super Eagles of Nigeria versus the Panthers of Gabon at exactly 4 p.m. Ghana time, 5 p.m. Nigeria time on the 13th of November 2025. Same date, second semi-final, exactly 7 p.m. Ghana time, 8 p.m. Nigeria time, Cameroon versus DR Congo. And ahead of this mini tournament, former coach of the Super Eagles, former coach of the Panthers of Gabon, same as the current coach of the Benin Republic, meaning is a former coach for both Super Eagles and that of Panthers of Gabon. He has spoken at length, talking of Gennett Ram, the Franco-German taxation. He believes that the Super Eagles' superior quality will just prove the decisive against Gabon, and it is going to be very difficult for him to predict the eventual sole winner of this mini tournament. But he thinks with the quality that the Super Eagles are having, they are going to clinch the trophy, same as qualifying for the Intercontinental or Confederation playoff, seeing Nigeria at US, Canada, and Mexico. And even FIFA will be very happy seeing the Super Eagles with their stars at the 2026 FIFA World Cup tournament. Let's have a full glare of the exact words of Gennett Ram on our screens. Let me run you through quickly. According to Gennett Ram, he started with these words: Gabon and Nigeria are 2 good teams. Some of their Gabonese players are still the same ones I worked with between 2010 and 2012 when we reached the quarterfinals of the 2012 Africa Cup of Nations, talking of the 2012 AFCON. He proceeded with these words: Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was a young player at that time, talking of 2012, and their captain, Bruno Ekwele Manga, is still there, but I think Nigeria has better players. If they play collectively like they did against Benin, I think they can beat Gabon. If the Super Eagles play collectively as they did in their last game at the Gosio Akpabio Stadium in Uyo against Benin, meaning they will be able to defeat Gabon. These are the exact words of Gennett Ram. He proceeded with these words: the winner of the final tickets will be difficult to predict because the match between Cameroon and DR Congo will not be easy. Perhaps DR Congo are a bit stronger because they have individually better quality players than Cameroon. Again, Cameroon are also facing some administrative problems, but may affect their performance. That is it. They are facing some administrative problems that may affect their performance. So I think the final could be between Nigeria and DR Congo. He has predicted the finals: Nigeria, the Super Eagles versus DR Congo. These are the words from Gennett Ram. The continental playoffs in Mexico will be very difficult, but there is still hope. I think Nigeria do it because they have the best players and a good image. So he thinks Nigeria can do it because we're having the best players and a good image of Africa and world football. He proceeded with these words: It will be good for FIFA to have a nation like Nigeria with almost 200 million people at the World Cup. It would make the tournament more exciting, as he added. So these are the exact words of Kenneth Trapp, former coach of both Gabon and the Super Eagles. He has given out his prediction, according to him, per whatever I've read out. He reckons that the Super Eagles would definitely make it to USA, Canada, and Mexico if we play collectively as we did in our last game. Do you resonate with his exact words? Just share your comments decently in the comment box. If you don't resonate with his words, just also leave your decent comments in the comment box. We are in the democratic dispensation. Differences and divergence are always welcome. Still in the camp of our very own Super Eagles, we are preparing, and preparations have been overshadowed so far with fitness concerns. We have the doubts around the availabilities of some key players. And let me quickly run you through some players that will not make the cut or the final cut for this mini tournament in Morocco. The first player to talk about is Terem Murphy, who plays his club football for OGC Nice. He is suffering from calf injury, and according to the latest reports, he will even be reporting or just recovering from his injury just after this mini tournament, meaning he's going to miss this mini tournament and maybe he might be available for the AFCON tournaments. The second player to talk about is Felix Agu, who plays his club football as a left back for Werder Bremen in the Bundesliga. He's also suffering from ankle injury, and according to the reports coming in, he will also recover just after this mini tournament. So definitely, he's going to miss out on this mini tournament. And even with further reports about Felix Agu, he might also miss out on the AFCON tournament final man squad list, and he might return somewhere early parts of next year, 2026. That is the latest coming in from the camp of Felix Agu. The next player on my list is Fisayo Dele Bashiru, who plays his club football for Lazio in the Serie A. He is suffering from hamstring injury and he might return just after this mini tournament. The next player is Ola Aina. Ola Aina, as you all know, and per reports, he's also having hamstring injury. But the piece of good news that, as earlier anticipated, that he might return the early part of next year, 2026. For him missing out on the AFCON, he might return at the early part of December this year, talking of December 2025. That is the latest coming in from the camp of Ola Aina. Cyril Tessis is also suffering from hamstring injury and he might return just after this mini tournament in Morocco. And the next player to talk about is Igbo Obu, who plays his club football for Slavia Prague. According to the latest reports, he might also return just after this mini tournament. But with the doubts around Semi Ajayi, I have already reported to you that he's having 2 yellow cards. With the accumulation of yellow cards, he's going to miss out on the first game against Gabon. Definitely, you go on or you move on to play the second game, which is a grand finale stage of this mini tournament. So I think Eric Sequichel can add him up to the final man squad just for him to miss out on the first game and also represent us in the final game against either DR Congo or that of Cameroon, as predicted by Kenneth Trapp. Nigeria will be facing DR Congo. We are waiting to see that things will happen as he has stated in his previous views or interviews. Now, let me also talk about our predicted man squad ahead of this mini tournaments. That is my view, my opinion. As to what you also think, you can leave it decently in the comment box. For the Super Eagles, previously, if you are going into major competitions or when you are going into major matches, we go in with either 22 or 23 man squad. But for me, with this mini tournament, we have to enlarge our man squad to 25. So I'm going in with my predicted 25 man squad as to whether the number of players that Eric Sequichel will come out with. I'm also going in with what I think befits the Super Eagles ahead of this mini tournament. I will talk about 3 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 7 midfielders, and 7 forwards. These are players with emerging talents, same as players who are having the experience from their European clubs. coming to blend them together to fit in better for the Super Eagles in the mini tournaments. The first three goalkeepers on my list. Stanley Nwabali plays his club football for Chipa United. Maduka Okoye plays his club football for Idnis in the Serie A. Amas Obasoji plays his club football for Sigindi Black Stars. I've already spoken about these players. What we need is the stability and the reliability in between the sticks. I stated that just a simple error from one of these keepers will just count down everything, just undo whatever hard work we've done. And this is the right time. We need goalkeepers who are going to prove themselves to be very reliable for us in the goalposts in this mini tournament. With the 8 defenders, I have Zaudu Sanusi, who plays his club football for FC Porto in Portugal. Bruno Onyemachi, who plays his club football for Olympiacos. Awaziam Chidozi plays his club football for Dance. Benjamin Fredericks plays his club football for Dendel FK in Belgium on loan from Brentford. Kevin Bassi plays his club football for Fulham. Semi Ajayi, have included him in this man's squad, and he's also part of Hull City's team. William Trus Incon plays his club football for Al Khalud in Saudi Arabia. And the next player on my list is Maurice James. Now let me talk about this player who plays his club football for VfL Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. Yesterday, I had reports from one of the reliable insiders that he has received a call-up to play for the Super Eagles ahead of this mini tournament. He was part of the provisional man squad, but as to whether he's going to make the final cut, I don't know at this moment. So let me talk about him. In case we see him in the final man squad, it's not going to be something new to us, those who have been following Sports Film. This is a player who was born on the 30th of February 1999. He is 26 years, so to me, he's quite young to play for the Super Eagles. Predominantly, he plays as a center back. He can also play as a right back, same as a sweeper. When I talk about sweeper in terms of defense to the football fanatics, we know who a sweeper is in the defense. So these are some of the qualities and positions he used to play on the field of play for his club side, VfL Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. Now, let me talk about his qualities based on his attributes on the field of play. Looking at his physical and his aerial ability is something that we can't forgo. He's around 1.09 meters. When he converts it to feet and inches, it's around 6 feet 3 inches, meaning he's tall enough to compete aerial balls for the Super Eagles. The second part that I have to talk about in terms of his attributes is a strong tactical and clearance numbers. He's having 7.4 per 90 minutes in terms of clearance in his numbers. Averagely 7.4 clearances per 90 minutes. This is from Maurice James, who plays his club football for VfL Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. His dad is from Nigeria and his mom is from Germany. He was born in Germany, but some years ago, he stated that he prefers playing for Germany to that of Nigeria. But according to the latest reports coming in, Eric Sekuchop has spoken at length with Maurice James and he has agreed to play for the Super Eagles. As to whether he's ready for the Super Eagles, we are all waiting to see him in the final cuts, and it doesn't need any FIFA nationality switch processes for him to be eligible to play for Nigeria or to commit his full international future to Nigeria. So these are the latest surrounding Maurice James. I needed to keep you updated and just authenticate with his background checks and who he is and how he can be fit in the Super Eagles team ahead of this mini tournament. Let me proceed with my midfielders. With the 7 midfielders, I have Alice Iwobi of Fulham in England, Wilfred Ndidi of Besiktas in Turkey, Frank Onyeka of Brentford in England, Raphael Onyedika of Club Brugge in Belgium, Ebenezer Akin Samiru, he's also a new player, have spoken about him, on loan from Inter Milan, playing for Pisa in the Serie A. He's also a central midfielder. Predominantly, he can play as a right midfielder, same as a right back. Now, let me talk about the next player on my list. Chrysanthus Uche, who plays for Crystal Palace. With this time, he's not getting enough minutes to come by at Crystal Palace. So subsequently, he also has to prove himself for Crystal Palace, same as the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Let me add this player to the list. David Moses of Slavia Prague. I've spoken about this player who predominantly plays as a central midfielder. This is a time we need more midfielders into the Super Eagles team who can help us in this mini tournament. I've spoken about David Moses. You can go through my previous posts and check out who he is on the field of play for his club side, Slavia Prague, same as who is going to be for the Super Eagles. Now, the next player, let me move on to the forwards with the 7 forwards. I have Victor Osimhen, plays his club football for Galatasaray in Turkey. Ademola Lookman for Atalanta Calcio in Italy. Chukwueze Samuel for Fulham in England. He's also on loan from AC Milan. Moses Simon plays his club football for Paris FC, and Ako Adams plays his club football for Sevilla in the Spanish La Liga. Tolu Arokodari plays his club football for Wolves in the EPL, and Olakunle Olusegun plays his club football for PN Novogorod on loan from Krasnodar. So these are my 25 players that I think Eric Sekuchel can use them in this mini tournaments. Let's wait and see, or let's look forward to seeing all these players in Eric Sekuchel's final man squad. Briefly, let me quickly run you through the list again. Standing Wabale Maduka Okoye Amas Ubasaji as goalkeepers, defenders. Zaudu Sanusi, Bruno Onyemachi, Chidozie Awazia, Benjamin Fredis, Calvin Bassey, Semi Ajayi, William Truss Incon, Maurice James. To the midfielders, Alex Iwobi, Wilfred Ndidi, Frank Onyeka, Rafael Onyedika, Ebenezer Akin Samiru, Chrysanthus Uche, and David Moses. To the forwards, Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Samuel Chukwueze, Moses Simon, Ako Adams, Olakunle Olusegun, and Tolu Arokodai. You can also share your thoughts decently in the comment box. I was being supported by my hardworking chief editor, Emmanuel Kwame Asiedu, and my amazing graphic designer, Dominic. Let me quickly give shout out to these amazing commenters under my previous videos. Simon, Victor, I do appreciate your support. Mayor Bison, I do appreciate your support. Stephen Maduabuchi, I do appreciate your support. Last Born, I do appreciate your support. Usakwi Okechukwu, I do appreciate your support. Special shout out to Dari Villa, I do appreciate your support. Special shout out to all the amazing commenters and cherished viewers on this platform. Until we meet again in the next one. It's bye for now.